That's when I accidentally dropped a dime in front of the cop.
A dime what?
I ain't be dropping no dime. I'm no snitch. But there's a cop right there,
okay.
and I drop my dimes. That's free. Don't go spend that all in one place. I'll give you one for your friend. Take to the candy shop and get a jawbreaker for a dime. Oh, hello there.
1960s.
Thank you for joining us once again for this, the 114th episode of the Drunk Doctor Who podcast.
Yep.
Wherein we discuss the 114th
story.
Story.
Well, we're getting out of serials eventually, but
Season.
Story. The Warriors Gate, or just Warriors Gate. There's
Warriors Gate.
No participle there. All right. I'm Hatter. This is Holden.
What are we drinking today, Hatter?
I am drinking Captain Morgan Spice Rum, one of my standards.
My doctor asked this is water. I'm drinking water.
No, what are you actually drinking? Your doctor does not watch this podcast.
Your tap water tastes a lot like Cayman Jack margarita.
There you go. All right. So, Warriors Gate. Today is the 13th of March, 2023. Spring
That's
break.
today.
Yep.
This was filmed.
Right. This one's filmed. All right. So there are 4 episodes.
That's
they
when we watched
aired from January 3rd, 1981. We're finally 1981
Saturday.
to January 24th, 1981.
Saturday.
The companions are Romana, K-9, and Edric. And our antagonists. Who are our antagonists?
Slave traders? What are they called?
Yeah.
They don't have a group name.
No, you are correct. No, they're not named after the ship. The ship never has a name, like the Argonauts or something.
Their war tribe has a name.
Well, the Thrallis or whatever they're called.
The MZ.
Well,
those are the slaves.
Right. But okay, the antagonists are a group of slave traders. Literally, they seem to hunt down this race of Leonid.
Liono. Thundercats.
Lioness. But there's a word for it.
Anthropomorphic.
Leonid, huh?
Leonin.
Leonin.
They're called the Tharil.
Theral, not thralls, but Theral.
Tharils.
And they are lion-esque people. Alright, anyway.
This is the last of our E-Space
Trilogy. Alright, so this is the DVD. This is the actual citadel where the Warriors Gate is. This is one of the Tharils. Mm-hmm. And of course the Doctor and the TARDIS. And
Thundercats. Ho!
they kind of look like Thundercats. Alright,
Liono.
I will start you off, before we really get into it, with a statement. This is a very strange story.
3 out of 5?
Very strange.
Did you say 3 out of 5?
2.5 to 3, yeah.
I rated it 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm there or close.
Online had it rated as 4 stars, and I don't agree with that. Some website.
Okay. I mean,
it was very artistic.
It's very cerebral, and if you're into that, you'll probably love it to death because it's up there. But
you have to watch it very closely to try to
follow it.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on at the first, and it kind of reveals later on. But it just feels very jargony thrown in there to kind of explain away the
art house. It feels like an art house movie, you know?
Yeah. Who wrote this serial? He's a radio guy.
Oh, hold on.
Some dude wrote this.
Well, yeah, well, some lady. Written by Steve Gallagher.
Some lady named Steve Gallagher wrote this.
It's a dude.
Oh.
Steve is a guy's name.
Oh.
Okay.
So this is the last of our E-Space
Trilogy. Lots of things happen in the serial, although much of it is not exactly explainable.
So they just went through a time rift, which is the phenomenon known as smearing Vaseline over the camera lens. Everything's a little bit blurry and
jiggling the camera, actually.
Hard to focus.
Okay. So at the very beginning, we're not even showing the Doctor and the TARDIS crew. We are showing
slave traders.
We are shown this ship, which is trying to take off from nowhere.
Where Adric was from. Leaving.
No, E-Space.
Yeah.
But they're not even in E-Space. They're in nowhere.
They're in between the spaces.
Right.
What do they call it? A CV space event?
Right. So, okay. Alright. Skipping ahead a little. Alright. So apparently there is E-Space, which is negative coordinates. There is N-Space, our universe, which is positive coordinates.
And they arrive at...
And there's this focal point where they meet, which is a gate, Warrior's Gate, which is 0 coordinates.
Yeah, it's where the Y meets the X-axis. And you have N-Space and E-Space, and they're right at coordinate 0, right in between.
I'm not sure if that works exactly, but the general idea is correct.
Yeah. Got positive from the right side of the Y-axis on X, and it's negative on the left side of the Y-axis on X. They're right in the middle of Y and X. It's 0 coordinates.
Correct. Everything's zeroed out.
Yeah.
All right. So
and there's people there. The TARDIS shows up. There's this ship. Looks like Darth Vader's helmet. It's made out of dwarf star metal, very heavy. There's a hole blasted in the side of it from the time rift that they went through, injuring their navigator.
Hold on. Are you not going to talk about the beginning where?
I thought it was.
Okay. You got the crew on the ship.
They go through the time rift.
Well, they're trying to go through the time rift, and you've got the Leonin guy, the lion guy, and he's a navigator, and they have him strapped in this chair. Birak. Yeah. They have him strapped in the chair like what's his face in
James Bond.
Clockwork Orange.
I haven't seen that one. It's probably not worth. It's not good.
It's good. And it's worth seeing. I'm not sure you would like it. It's a bit hardcore.
Dark.
Yes. Very dark. Very dystopian.
Just like this season.
There's a rape scene while they're singing in the rain.
Multiple. With a house intrusion.
Yeah.
Very kink. What is it? Not socially acceptable.
Yes, you can call it that. Very Kubrick-esque.
Kubrick? Is that the director?
Stanley Kubrick, yes. My second favorite director.
Moving on.
Okay. Anyway, so this might be... I don't know if this is going to be the shortest episode we've made in a while, the longest episode we've made in a while.
No notes. It's very straightforward.
Yeah. Like I said, every single serial this season is incredibly... They're all 4 episodes. They're all straightforward. Which I said last episode, which you don't think I watched, but I do.
And we're sober. Oh, did you watch me talking when you left?
Yes, and then I came back, and I talked about some of the same stuff you talked about when I was drunk.
I talked about
Well, yeah, but I know exactly what you covered, and then I recovered it.
I told you I said we're on episode 3.
Well, yeah, but you didn't say what you covered. Exactly.
So episode 1, they're going through a time rift.
Trying to.
Damages their ship. Their coordinator, Birak.
Navigator. The Leonin guy is in the chair and he's kind of stuck and he's failing. And
they got Scotty as the engineer in the engine bay room, and Captain Rorvik's yelling at him over comms, and Lane is like, I don't know, Captain. He's like, beam me up, Scotty.
No.
And he's like, it won't hold the bet.
Not exactly.
But the ship's falling apart.
To be fair, yeah, there's a ship stuck in null space between N space and E space, the zeros. And the crew's actually really good. I like the crew.
Yeah. Ragtag.
Yeah.
You have the Dumb and Dumber combo of Aldo and Royce.
Yeah, the guys down below, the workers, where everyone else is a navigator or whatever.
Their contract, we're getting paid by the hour. So it's like, they do their thing, and we're just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, those two are down there playing cards, and it's like, we have liftoff. Hooray! And upstairs, you've got the captain, you have the helmsman. I would call the one guy the helmsman.
Packard.
Yeah.
He's the bridge guy.
Yeah, the helmsman.
Captain Picard. Rorvik is the captain. Helmsman, bridge, Packard. Lane is the engineer guy who's in the engine bay.
Yeah.
And then Aldo and Royce are the Dumb and Dumber combo.
And there's a couple guys we don't that aren't actually named. Just kind of
Sagan.
Oh, you're right. Sagan was named. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Sagan was the masochistic one, trying to revive the.
He's the other bridge guy.
Yeah. Well, there were 2 or 3 others there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, this ship is trying to take off and get back to end space from nowhere, and they can't because their navigator, Leonin dude, isn't up to the task, and kind of gets burnt out.
And yeah, so it's kind of like Dune, and you have the space for the aliens that wrinkle time to.
They're not aliens.
Warp drive.
They're navigators.
Yeah.
Who have evolved from humans.
Yeah, they're aliens that take the dust. So
they're
they
evolved
can
from
see.
Humans.
So these Leonins, they have this. They're time sensitive, so they can see structures through time and space, and they use them. They strap them up and plug them into the brain chair, cerebro chair.
But they're slaves. They're slaves.
Yeah, and they force them to navigate through E-Space and N-Space and no space.
Right. Well, through the time rifts and the time strations.
So there's
strations.
Would you think of it? Okay, so you don't like the 4 grid system with the X and Y axis. What about you got space as like a wrinkle, and E-Space is kind of like in between the spaces between universes.
No, it's off to the side of the universe.
It's like X and Y axis.
Pocket
N
universe.
and E. Where is it? Okay.
Anyway, so they're trying to take off. They can't. They fail. They hit a time rift.
Mm-hmm.
At the exact same time, the Doctor and Romana, Adric and K-9 are trying to pilot the TARDIS
While talking about philosophy, right?
Well, okay, so they
coin.
They kind of hit the same time rift, and the time rift is represented by shaky cam,
blurry
kind of shaky cam over here, but not over here, and stuff like that.
They're like, how will they know they're going through a time rift? It's like, just give the viewers a headache by just rattle their brain.
Romana's trying to pilot the TARDIS. She's unsuccessful. The Doctor's like, well, I can do it. You have to be slightly forceful. You have to do the right amount of force, but the right amount of gentle.
He talks about hitting buttons at random out of exasperation, right?
Eventually, yeah. And he's like, but he can't get the TARDIS to work. And he says, well, we just should do random, I Ching. Like, I should hit a button at random. And Romana's like, not that button.
Mm-hmm.
She pulls him off to the side. In the meantime, K-9 and Adric are talking about I Ching.
Yes, because it's a philosophical ideal of navigating based off of odds.
Make decisions based off of randomness.
Off of randomness, yeah. So flipping a coin, for example, is a 50-50 chance, right?
Correct, yeah.
Perfect 50-50 chance?
49.9 and 49.9. It could theoretically land on its side every once in a while.
So the chance of flipping 2 heads is also 50-50? Or 2 tails?
Out of 2 coins. Or
no,
2 flips.
one coin. Yeah,
but
2 flips,
flips.
1 coin.
No, you go down to 25.
It's 50-50 like every time though.
No, it's 50-50 the first time.
Yeah.
And then 50-50 the second time.
Yeah.
If you're taking odds from the beginning, it's 25%. If you're taking odds after the first one, it's 50%.
Yeah, 50%. I think. Do you think anything is a 50%? It's like either it does or it doesn't. It's a 50-50.
Philosophically or statistically?
It's 50-50. Like he
Philosophically or statistically?
Like I can try jumping 10 feet, and I have a 50-50 chance. Either I do or I don't.
Once again, philosophically or statistically?
It's like flipping a coin, right?
No. Philosophically, you do or you don't. Statistically, yeah, you got no chance of jumping 10 feet.
Do or do not, there's no try. You don't think I can jump 10 feet?
With how much of a running start?
A long jump?
A long jump, yeah.
Yeah.
A standing from step jump? No.
Oh, my vertical's not 10 feet.
Okay. Alright. Hold on. Okay.
Through your roof real quick.
Alright, so anyway, I Ching is a philosophy which comes into play in the first episode or two of this episode. No.
You're itchy?
No, I Ching.
Oh.
Alright, so in this serial, it's represented by flipping coins several different times.
Yeah.
Adric does it a bunch, and Dumb and Dumber down on the ship do it a
You're
bunch.
flipping coins.
Traditionally, it's mostly done with sticks. You take a handful of sticks and you let them fall. And how they fall and what sides they fall on are what you read and what you should do. That's the much more common version is the handful of sticks.
Like pickup sticks. You ever play pick? It's like Jenga, but with sticks, and you can't move the other stick.
No. It's Chinese sticks like chopsticks, but with symbols on each side of the stick.
You read the stick that you pull out.
No. You hold them here, and then you let them go, and they fall in certain ways.
So in Jenga, we had a drink, or in college, we had a Jenga drinking game, and you'd pull out a Jenga piece and have a truth or dare question written on it.
Like what?
Call somebody, I don't know, do a funny accent. You had to do whatever the Jenga piece told you to do.
Okay.
Take a shot.
How does that work with the I Ching?
We were talking about picking up sticks and they have stuff written on them. So,
okay, completely separate thing.
Is it? Okay.
Okay. Alright, anyway, the most common thing for the I Ching is a stick. Anyway, so the whole point was randomness.
Sigmund Freud.
Oh, we get to that later.
Okay.
Well, no, actually it comes in right about now. You are correct. So, Romana goes, oh, an astral Jung. And Jung was, okay, astral being, the whole bit with astrology, which is bunk. And Jung, who is a student of Sigmund Freud, I call him Sigmund Fraud. Thank you, Cerebus. What?
Cerebus. That's a book.
Yeah, Cerebus the aardvark.
And a dog.
Cerberus is the dog. Cerebus is the aardvark. No. Anyway, but she says it's an astral Jung, which is like, that's a horrible rip-off parody of a horrible rip-off parody, and it shouldn't be paid attention to.
What's your astrological symbol?
Virgo.
A Virgo?
Yeah, Virgo the Virgin.
Is that good? What does that
I don't know.
Does that determine your person? Do you do your, what do you call that? Your horoscope?
No. Not at all.
How do we feel about Nostradamus? Did he predict the future as an astrologer by reading the stars?
Yeah, we're gonna need the second battery, I take it. Dude, no idea. I seriously have no idea.
More like Nostradamus than mine.
Okay, supposedly some of this stuff really came to fruition, but if you have 1,000 targets, you're going to hit at least 50 of them. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but it's.
That's the thing, is he wrote about like thousands of predictions, and he was right about like 2 of them, and people are like, you read the future. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring. You hear about Elden Ring?
Did Nostradamus predict that?
The video game?
I don't know.
No, but astrologer is a mage class that you can pick when you're starting. And then I just Googled famous astrologers and it came up with Nostradamus.
Oh God! If you want a rabbit hole to dive into, Nostradamus is it. That is a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I named my astrologer in Elden Ring Nostradamus.
Seriously.
Do you want to play Elden Ring with me?
I have no clue what Elden Ring is.
It's hard.
It's hard?
It's hard, yeah.
Okay, is it like World of Warcraft?
No.
Okay, what's the difference?
Skyrim?
I played
multiplayer.
I played Skyrim for half an hour.
I've been playing it with Shannon. It's very difficult.
Skyrim?
No, Elden Ring. Yeah.
Alright, if it's difficult, Shannon probably likes it.
Yeah, he does. You don't like difficult games? You like strategy games. Like
I don't mind difficult games. I hate. I work for 10 hours. I die. I lose 10 hours of work. You know, I want to have something there for it.
Yeah. I don't think you'd like Elden Ring.
Okay.
Did I tell you about the new podcast I want to do?
No.
Should we ask the viewers what they think?
All 43 of them.
All 43 at 63?
Okay.
We had 63
okay.
views on our last podcast.
Alright. So.
Thanks for tuning in.
True. Right. Hold up.
You don't
back
have
up.
anything better?
You stop this.
Right.
Okay. Alright. Hold it back up. Alright. First of all, we're going to try to complete episode 1
Episode
before an hour mark.
Flipping coins.
But we did have a minor viral breakthrough on the last podcast.
You watched our last episode 63 times.
No, I did not. Okay, so episode 113.
It's like 120 hours.
What? No, I didn't watch it.
Just
I watched
leave it on
just
loop.
the once. No.
We could do that. We could artificially
hurt you.
start a podcast.
Okay. No. Since our last podcast in the first 5 days, before I watched it, had actually 63 views.
Yeah, and
we had an actual comment.
What did the comments say?
We'll
reply to it live.
Keep up the great work, guys. You're doing great. Yay.
We're keeping it up.
And I replied to it. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's next week. We're still here.
And we had a bunch of views. We had 3 new subscribers. We're up to 43 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, if this ever truly goes viral, the numbers will be dwarfing
we're there,
this.
baby.
But you know what? Ooh, we're happy with this.
43 people is a full auditorium. We have
It's a small auditorium.
It's small. It's
it's a classroom.
We host a panel every week. Would you host a panel?
You can say that.
The Comic-Con with me. Would you?
Which Comic-Con?
They have 2 of them here.
Wait. Well, no, I do.
Whichever one you don't have a shop at, we'll do a booth. We'll do a Doctor Who booth.
Oh, a Doctor Who panel. I could do a Doctor Who panel.
Yes, we should do that.
I could do a Doctor Who panel.
If you're in this area, come to Comic-Con and...
Wait, when is Comic-Con?
There's 2 of them here.
No, there's the Hub City Con.
And then there's Lubbock-Con.
Wait. Which is... I just did Lubbock-Con. Okay, so when
do you have a booth next Lubbock-Con? Or are you free to
the one at the end of February.
Oh.
We do that one every year.
You have a booth. So the other one, let's get a panel.
What's the other one? That's Hub City Con, right?
Alright, so Lubbock-Con, we'll get a panel. A Doctor Who panel.
No, I think Lubbock-Con was the one we just did.
Okay, so I'll apply for a Hub City...
For a panel.
Doctor Who panel.
Doctor Who panel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we will discuss trivia, pop quizzes, frequent FAQ. We'll talk about Doctor Who history, companions, villains.
We could do that. I could do that. You could do that up to the fourth Doctor.
Up till Baker, yeah.
Yeah. So you'd be limited to the first 4 Doctors.
Well, we only have an hour for the panel, so we're gonna blaze through.
Right,
stuff.
but we're
just going to talk about the most fun stuff, right?
Well, no, it depends on whatever the heck they ask us.
So it's like, all right, we've been talking for 50 minutes. Last 10 minutes Q&A.
Guy walks up with the talking about the first 40
with the mic, and he goes, "I have a question. Can Time Lords breathe through their buttholes?" And I say, according to my theory, Time Lords are able to respiratory bypass through their other orifices.
You actually think someone's going to ask you that?
Well, I'll bring it up, probably. And then we'll talk about it. That's what we'll talk about for the first 50 minutes.
Okay. No, and no. Alright. I mean, I would be glad for us to do a panel.
Me too.
But no.
Can we show up in costumes? Can I dress up like one of the doctors?
Oh my god, it's gonna be a 4-hour friggin'
Who
video.
would we go? I really want to dress up as Pertwee.
Okay, you would have to wear a wig
with the frills. Oh, what do I not need a wig for? Oh, I could do a Trouton with a haircut.
You could. You have to shave your beard, but you could.
Oh yeah. You know, no doctors have beards.
How
are you gonna? You're gonna have to shave too to play Cardinal. I want to see you as a baker. I want to put a baker wig on you.
Okay.
Can we do this?
With my hair, I would be better off as either Hartnell or
he has a hat.
Okay. Yeah. Hartnell or Pertwee.
All right, February. You shave for Valentine's, right? We throw a mop on your head. In a scarf, you'll look just like Baker.
You realize it's March now.
I'm talking about next year. When is it? When's the next Comic-Con?
End of February.
Yeah, next year.
Last weekend of February.
Yeah, it's March now. So this will be next year. We have a whole year to get our costumes together. I'm gonna be a Dalek.
Okay, I'd probably be better off as a Time Lord.
Exterminator.
Generic Time Lord.
I'm gonna be Sarah Kingdom. I want to be Shutai. No, I want to be who does Neil Patrick Harris play?
We don't know yet. The speculation is a Celestial Toymaker, but the episode is not aired. And you're about 6 inches too tall, and about 6 inches too wide to play Neil Patrick Harris.
Who am I wide enough to play as? Trouton, right? You can't tell over the coat. How about we're both Baker? I'll be red.
You're about the height and the
he's like
size for Baker.
He's 6'3". He's super tall.
And you're what, 6 foot?
I don't have the horse teeth for it. I'm like 6 even.
Yeah.
He's got about 3 inches on me.
Hey, you know there are other characters besides.
Well, I haven't seen.
Besides characters you've seen in the first.
No, I'm gonna go as Dalek. I'm gonna make a Dalek costume.
Okay. I need more. All right. Where the hell are we in the actual story?
So episode 1. Surprise! Adric's on board. He's stowed away.
That was the last serial. They've accepted him now.
Well, so Romana pulls the doctor to the side, and she's like, Adric, if we get out of E-Space, we're basically taking this boy Adric away from his space, his home, his galaxy. And the doctor's like, yeah, sure, why not? She's like, well, we don't have the right to abduct him from his home. And the doctor's like, eh.
Well, yeah, well, who says? All right. So anyway, Adric I-chings and pushes a button or two and stabilizes the TARDIS a bit. After Romana and the doctor couldn't.
Yeah, and then the doctor's like, why don't I hit a random button? I'll hit this one. And Romana was like, don't hit that one. And he's like, unless I wanted to subconsciously hit that one.
Well, that was before.
Yeah, are you familiar with the concept of if you don't know what you want to pick between two options, you flip a coin, and then you're either happy or disappointed. And you don't have to go with the coin, but the coin's supposed to tell you what you're hoping for. It's like, do I want pizza or spaghetti for dinner? It's like, well, heads is pizza, and then it lands on tails, and you go, oh. You're like, oh, I guess that means I want pizza then. Because you were hoping it would land on heads.
Okay.
Even though you can't visualize that in your mind's eye at the moment.
Okay. No.
Yeah, so he goes to point a button and he's like, wait, that would be silly to press that button, right? Mid-warp drive. Unless I subconsciously wanted to hit the backdrive button.
He actually, paraphrasing, says something like that. Okay.
And then
Anyway. So, Adric kind of stabilizes the TARDIS, and then,
Is it Adric or Adric?
Adric.
Oh. Adric?
Adric. We're going to be here till Tuesday at the rate we're going. Alright. Adric. Alright. So anyway, in the meantime, the people on the ship take what they think is a dead Theral.
Yeah.
And they're taking him down to the scrap yards for flesh, I guess. Scrap yards for flesh. Remember the guys down below, Dumb and Dumber, are like, yeah, I wouldn't give much for what his scrap would be.
Scrap? Are they harvesting their organs?
I don't know, but they talk about that. They seriously say that. Part. Yeah. What do you be worth of scrap?
Type. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, so this Leonin breaks free. They're kind of dragging him along, but he's pretending. His eyes open. He's pretending.
He Vulcan nerve pinches them, right?
No, he kind of breaks free and just Mondo's.
Frankenstein-esque.
Yep. And he breaks free. He runs off, and he's trying to get to the section of the ship that would enable him to free his cellmates, the other slaves.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, in the TARDIS, after it's kind of stabilized, the doors open up, and this drastic light shines through. It hits K-9 and kind of fries K-9.
K-9's having some issues.
Yeah, the Doctor touches K-9, and the light hits his hand and kind of fries his hand. He takes out a handkerchief, wraps it up. The Doctor's like, it must be the time waves.
How many germs do you think are on the average handkerchief? Those have to be. Because if you sneeze in it and then you use it to bind a wound, isn't that just like
That's why you use
non-sanitary?
That's why you use different handkerchiefs.
How many handkerchiefs should the average person carry?
2.
I carry 0.
I have one in my pocket to sneeze into, and
Mm-hmm.
I have one in my jacket to hand to people who are crying.
Oh. So if I was crying right now, you'd have to go get your jacket.
Hmm?
Okay.
Or I could hand you the one I use to sneeze into and just not care.
That's the one you embroider, right? Oh, I can't sneeze in this. You have it embroidered.
So anyway, the time winds come in and affect K-9, affect the Doctor, affect the TARDIS. The TARDIS is... And then the Leonin, Boric, comes in.
Iraq.
And he's kind of in a different phase, and he phases in and out, and eventually
So they can
settles the TARDIS.
See each other,
Yeah.
but they're out of sync phase-wise.
Eventually, till Boric settles it.
And then K9's kind of screwed up. He needs some more memory wafers. So Adric and Romana go and they pull out a bunch of boxes from the storage, which are covered in dust.
Correct. A little bit later. But Boric wanders around, looks, and he talks to the Doctor, and they talk to each other. And Boric says, "Don't trust the 3 who are coming. They are not of my race." Boric heads off back into the nothing, literally the zero, null space. And the Doctor's like, "Okay, you remain here, Romana. I will follow him." Doctor goes out and follows him. And Romana and Adric are left in the TARDIS. The door's closed.
Looking through dusty boxes.
Trying to fix K-9.
Why does the TARDIS have dust in it? Does it not have an air purifier? You think they'd have that technology.
Well, dust exists almost anywhere.
So she pulls out the boxes, blows dust in Adric's face.
He sneezes.
The Doctor heads out looking for some sort of building that they...
No, he's just following Boric. Boric ends up at this, looks like a citadel, or the
chapel
remains of a citadel.
The entrance to one.
Wooden doors, a bunch of stones, but they're not completely encompassing anything. Looks like kind of ruins. He goes in, and he's wandering around, then he goes through a mirror. The Doctor goes in.
Through the looking glass, like Alice in Wonderland.
Yep.
Very ominous.
The Doctor goes in, and the Doctor's looking around, and he's kind of like, there's all these cobwebs in this
totally disheveled, dusty
room of a keep.
Why is there dust in E-Space? No space. 0 coordinates. Because outside is a total white void right there in purgatory.
Yes.
Where does the dust come from? And the spiders. Who's making the cobwebs?
I think it exists just for atmosphere.
For atmosphere. Okay.
Like I said, this is a very weird serial. And a lot of it does not make sense, and some of it is incredibly cerebral.
So the Doctor, the homemaker he comes into this abandoned chapel and he's picking up the cups and dusting off the armor pieces. And
And then one of them comes to life, and the Doctor's looking at stuff and looking at this mirror.
Yeah, the mirror that B-Rock went through.
Yeah, and the thing brings up its double-headed short axe
and cuts his head
and
off.
brings it down. And
end of episode 1.
Yeah, end of episode 1.
Bum, 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 bum. Any questions about episode 1?
No, that's what I'm asking.
Because I have the answers. How much does the TARDIS weigh, you think?
Okay.
In pounds.
In pounds.
In stone.
British or Scottish stone?
Scottish.
Scottish. Okay, 16. British is 13 stones the pound.
Okay. Nice.
13 pounds of stone. Scottish is 16 pounds of stone.
So in pounds, then how much does the TARDIS weigh? Less than a spaceship made out of Dwarf Star metal.
Okay.
Because we see people lift up and carry the TARDIS, like in...
It has happened. Okay, the TARDIS weighs whatever the plot needs it to weigh. Marco Polo's guys picked up the TARDIS and put it on a cart. And in the future, a helicopter picks up the TARDIS.
They move it around a lot. Like,
and there are times when it can't be moved. It just it needs to weigh whatever it needs to weigh.
They also needed to weigh K-9, right? Because he's totally shafted in this serial.
Yeah, K-9's
he's
not feeling any love.
You see him walking backwards a lot.
Yeah, he is. This is not a good K-9 serial. He's kind of sidelined for much of it, and he's there when he needs to be there.
Mm-hmm. So episode 2.
That was it for questions?
Well, we talked about E-Space, the philosophy, 50-50 coin flips. You don't have the right to abduct Adric. I agree with Romana on that one. But he does anyway.
No, he didn't abduct him.
Well,
Adric's
going
on willingly.
He did stow away.
Adric stowed away. That was consent for I'm going wherever.
In space and E-Space, in the nth dimension, there's dust in the TARDIS. And then Skeletor shows up with an axe. So episode 2, the Doctor says he normally gets along well with machines, which is a lie, right? Computers.
Fourth Doctor maybe, previous Doctors no.
Yeah.
But
unless you're talking about K-9.
The Doctor kind of dodges his way around. The skeleton chain thingy misses him. He dances around, and eventually another one animates.
They're known as Gundam robots.
Gundams. So 2 of them come after him, and he kind of ducks down. Looks like he's going to die, and they kill each other.
Yeah, these machines are just incredibly agile and quick and
not smart.
Very slow. It was like watching 2
mimes.
What are those old-timey clocks?
Grandfather clocks?
It's like 2 grandfather clocks in a wrestling match. And they whack each other with the axes. The Doctor goes, well, that's convenient, which I agree with.
Yeah. They kill each other, and then he starts messing around with it. In the meantime...
How many times do you think we've said the word meantime in the podcast?
Several hundred.
If we have a antonym for that, or a pseudonym for that, what?
Currently.
Yeah. What's another word we can use in meantime?
Currently.
Oh, currently. Meanwhile.
Otherwise.
And then.
Back on the ranch.
Alongside.
Correct.
While that was happening, we have the slave traders show up at the TARDIS because they're looking around.
Alright, you need more drink.
And okay. So the slave traders show up at the TARDIS.
You're asking grammar questions. You need more drink.
They're gushing about how the TARDIS is too small for a spaceship, or rather, it's a large TARDIS for a large.
It's a large coffin. It's a coffin
man.
and a large man, or a
right there.
Or a spaceship for midgets. Alright. So anyway, the slave traders, under the guise of the captain, they find the TARDIS, they're trying to break in. Romana talks to Adric. They're trying to fix K-9. They get K-9 kind of fixed, but they need some wafers. Memory wafers. They need these wafers from certain devices. And the men from the slave ship have a mass finder. And the mass finder apparently uses the same memory wafers as K-9 does. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna talk to them, and you know what? If I do this, don't come out. I mean, it's incredibly specific. That's incredibly odd, but that's what she says. One arm up, other arm up, put the hands behind the head, don't come out. So she goes out, and these men who were trying to break in the TARDIS are like, well, who are you? She said, I'm like, Romana. Romana left a little bit of Dunda, whatever the heck her full name is. Who are you? And they're like, well, we're from this ship. And the exchange goes back and forth. Romana manages to ask a lot of questions, but doesn't really give any answers. She's just being very, very, very evasive. And eventually, she decides to go with them after giving the signal to Adric and K-9 to stay in, although Adric kind of fixed K-9 a bit, and he's not paying as much attention to the screen. And then they go off to the ship, which is the slave ship, which is carrying the cargo of the slaves, the 3 L's. And once they get there, they show Romana around, they show her to the main deck, and the captain's like, aha, she's temporal sensitive. We will enslave her as our new navigator. And they stuff her physically into the chair. Boom, boom, finger on her head. She'll be our temporal navigator because she's temporal sensitive. And she envisions, and it's not working. But eventually they figure out what she's seeing is a citadel where the doctor had gone. And they go, okay, this is not temporal, this is geographic. We need to go there. And the captain's like, well, in the meantime, you, Dumb and Dumber, you prep our cargo because we may need them to navigate us out of here if she doesn't work out. So the captain takes a bunch of people, and they go into the null space, and they go and they are looking for the citadel. In the meantime, the doctor is messing around with the Gundams, and yep.
Who is it?
Hello.
How are you doing it?
I'm good. You?
We're on episode 4 now?
No.
Oh.
Episode 2. So,
2?
Didn't close the door all the way. There you go. Alright. Wait. Alright. Starts messing around the Gundams, and he's figuring out what happened. And they were sent there by the slaves of the masters to kill the masters. There's like, oh, okay, interesting. And in the meantime, the people from the slave ship have shown up. Of course, they're all white men, because, you know, bad guys. They show up, and the doctor's fiddling around with the Gundams and getting all the information from them. With the help of an assistant of K-9, who's finally found him. Adric's still searching around in the null void. And Romana is stuck on the ship. And the doctor ends up getting information from a Gundam, and then they show up and they want the information too, so he gets all that information for them.
That's where the TARDIS is.
Well, about those things, and then
Right there.
what are you?
E-Space and N-Space. N-Space is our space, positive, and then the negatives, you have E-Space. Here we are in 0 coordinates, right in between E and N-Space. That's where the TARDIS is, right there. Just for you at home who needed help visualizing the narrative.
To be fair, that's correct.
How do you feel about Albert Einstein when he said, try as hard as you want, you will never teach your cat relative physics. And I think my cat is pretty smart.
Okay.
Where's the episode end? Episode 2 with the Skeletor Knight show. Oh wait, that's episode 1. Oh, so Romana's locked up in the chair, and then the lion comes and cuts her in the face, and she screams.
Don't. Hold on.
All right, continue. I'm listening.
All right. So the main force of the slaver ship went out and confronted the Doctor when he was trying to mess with the Gundam. In the meantime, they told the Dumb and Dumber, I forget their names, to revive the 3 L's.
It's Aldor and Royce.
Aldor and Royce.
Do we have an eraser?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna teach my cat. Continue. Episode 2.
To revive the 3 L's, one at a time, so they can help them navigate out of this E/null space. And they're like, well, we don't know what we're doing, but okay. And we're not supposed to do that on a ship anyway. It's better done in a station, because many of them will die. But they do a couple, and they do one, and he screams and screams and screams, but he survives. And he survives. After they leave, he walks around like Frankenstein. He's reaching for Romana, who's tied up and captured in the chair. And end of episode 2. And just like episode 1, didn't seem like a real super threat.
Well, I mean, she really didn't seem like she's into having her face touched with the furry palm of
but it was a non-threat. I mean, you didn't know it was not a threat until it didn't happen.
I mean, it was a rather tense situation. If I'm to quote Romana verbatim, I think she said something along the lines of "Ah!"
Yeah.
So
and then episode 3 turns out he was friendly, and instead of touching her or messing with her or killing her, he reaches to her shackles and he breaks one of them.
Yeah, she's in a Rey Skywalker position or Rey Palpatine position where she's tied up in the interrogation navigation chair. The guy goes to pet her face and she goes, ah! And he goes, oh, never mind. And then instead he undoes her left bracelet. But he doesn't get her right bracelet done just yet. So then she says, go hide, they're coming, I hear them coming. And then she pulls this bracelet back down so it looks like she's still chained up.
Yeah, the restroom.
Okay, and then so Captain Rorvik shows back up about this time and he's barking orders at Dumb and Dumber. And Engineer Lane is like, hey, get the MZ thruster down, we need it to point at a mirror. And they say, oh, okay, alright, we'll go on and haul this. So K-9 shows up, right, because Hatter was talking about, hey, K-9 and Adric were walking through the void, and Adric was like, well, do you know where you're going, K-9? And K-9 said, well, there's a margin of error. And Adric's like, well, what is the margin of error? And K-9 says, about 87 not something percent. And he says, 87% chance of error? Like, what? That's worse than useless. And K-9 says, affirmative. So Adric's like, oh boy. Well, you stay here, K-9. I'm going to go find Romana because she looked like she was in trouble when those guys came and hauled her off. So he starts flipping a coin, going left or right based on heads or tails. K-9, his circuitry and memory wafers totally being fried, of course doesn't stay put like Adric told him to. He starts going in reverse, saying, imminent need of instruction, yada yada. And he's actually reversing in the direction where the Doctor was, whereas Adric is going towards where Romana was aboard the slave runner's spaceship thing. So as they're bringing this thing out and they're distracted by K-9 barking as he beeps by, Adric sneaks aboard the spaceship, right? And he goes up and he rescues Romana. He undoes her other clamp. And they run away. They actually hide in the MZ thruster under the security blanket. So Aldor Aldo and Royce are pulling the thruster out towards the chapel citadel place where the doctor was. And they're complaining, oh man, this thing, it feels like it gets heavier every time, or we're getting weaker. And they're like, yeah, that's... and they grumble and they walk off. And the reason it was heavier was because Romana and Adric stowed away under the security blanket. So we're on episode 3. Meanwhile, the doctor is back at the Citadel where he was talking to the robots. And he learns about the 3 gateways, which are really the one and the same gateway. Really, I don't understand what exactly happened to Cyril, but B-Rock goes through the mirror. And then the captain shows up with his men and the MZ thruster that he wants to point at the mirror to try to break it. K-9 shows up too. He reverses into the Citadel, and the doctor goes, oh, that's K-9. And then the captain, all his men show up with guns, and they're like, hey, what's going on here? And the doctor's like, well, you heard the robot chatting about, 3 gateways. And he's like, well, you run that back for me. I don't know what he's talking about. And the doctor goes, me either. And the robot, the Gundam, is like, 3 gateways, 1 entrance. And the other robot just totally decapitates the first robot. And Captain's like, great, now we'll never know. And then the doctor takes advantage of this distraction to sneak off with K-9. But they immediately notice that the doctor's gone AWOL, so they go, I'll find him and point him at gunpoint and drag him back here. He seems time sensitive and he knows how to navigate space. So they do find the doctor upstairs with K-9. Unfortunately, K-9 is kind of a dead weight at this point. It's not really functioning correctly. So the doctor escapes through the mirror, just like B-Rock went through the mirror. But K-9 is unable to follow the doctor through the mirror. So K-9's sitting at the mirror saying, you need imminent instruction. And
immediate.
The doctor escapes, and he finds himself with B-Rock on the other side of through the looking glass. And he's looking back at K-9 and he goes, oh, K-9 can't come in, he needs my help. And B-Rock goes, oh, he'll come in when the time is right. And the doctor's like, hey, my hand. And B-Rock's like, yeah, your hand was touched by the time wind. And that's why you're able to get through the mirror like me. Mm-hmm. But that's going, your physical hand's going to heal now. And he's like, well, K-9 was blasted by the wind. If we bring him through the mirror, won't he be fixed? And the B-Rock goes, yeah, and when the time's right, he'll come through.
And he'll only be able to be fixed on the side.
Yeah, so the line people are very... confusing, yeah. The Farrells, I don't understand what they're talking... They seem very nonchalant about everything. They're these slave prisoners, they're tortured, and they're being killed, forced to navigate through different apertures of space navigation equipment. And this dude who escaped this torture and enslavement is just kind of like, everything will work out, in time. You just gotta wait. Be patient. And the doctor's like,
okay, so...
Episode 3.
In the end, the slave trader shipmates, the captain, decides to bring up the MZ, which is this giant laser thing.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, Adric apparently snuck into the ship, helped Romana escape. A little bit of loose editing here. The one thing I don't like about this.
It kind of left out, the scene where he breaks her out, but we're talking about how they stowed away under the little security blanket.
They stowed away under the blanket over this thing. Him, Romana, and eventually K-9, because K-9 kept following the dudes back to the ship. Yeah, they finally get out on this deal. I wish they trimmed some other stuff and explained this more. Right. It shouldn't have been 5 episodes, but there could have been better editing.
The whole serial is, you have no idea what's going on. We explain episode 1 and episode 2. You have no idea what's going on in episode 2. Because we explain what happened in episode 2 and episode 3. You have no idea what's going on in episode 3 because we explained that in 4.
Okay.
So the whole time
you're not wrong.
You're just like, what just happened? Correct. And they're like, well, that's what happened. You're like, okay. what's happening now? It's like, we'll tell you later.
Exactly. Very Doctor Who-esque.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, Romana's helped out by Adric and K-9. They get out. They head back to the TARDIS and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so the Doctor is in this other timeline of the Leonin.
Yeah. We talked about how it's very Wizard of Oz, black and white-esque.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
So you go with the looking glass. He's going. He's following that guy, and there's the lady. He follows the lady. In the meantime, Romana ends up with a Leonin, and she follows him,
right.
And he gets her into the Citadel.
Yeah, there's one Leonin, B-Rock, who's with the Doctor.
Yeah.
And this other Leonin is one that they tried reviving on the ship to replace Romana, because they decided she's probably not time sensitive enough for the use for navigating. And that Leonin was named Laszlo. Mm-hmm. That helps Romana escape. It's really sweet. They hold hands and then they travel through this time curtain.
And there's a Leonin that is female. Who leads the Doctor through stuff.
I don't think we get her name, but someone was listed in the credits as Kilroy, so I'm just going to call her Kilroy.
No, Kilroy's a man's name.
Well, I don't know who she was. Okay. Was she Laszlo?
No, I have no clue. Okay,
I don't know who she was. I don't think she has a single line. They just kind of hold hands to teleport.
So, anyway, the Doctor's walking through the looking glass stuff. And he goes through several things like the what's it called?
What is the MZ? The laser?
No. The palace.
Oh, we don't really have a name for that, like citadel structure, chapel.
No, but what the Doctor's going through beyond the looking glass.
Yeah, he's in some weird E-Space zero coordinate
purgatory.
It looks like. So what was that one serial where you had the literature and the writer guy? It was with Karakatoa. We had Jimmy McGuigan. No, what's his name? Jamie McCrimmon. We had Jamie McCrimmon.
And you're thinking of the Mind Robber.
The Mind Robber, right? They walk out of the TARDIS and it's just this. They were wearing white clothes, white jumpsuits, and they walk out and they're in black jumpsuits, and the background is white.
Yeah,
so we have that. So we go from color. You walk through the looking glass, and it's filmed in black and white.
No, it's
but the Doctor's
the whole thing
color.
was in black and white.
He's superimposed in color over.
No, that was the second Doctor. It's all in black and white.
No, I'm talking about this episode, the Warrior's Gate. When he walks through the looking glass, it's filmed in black and white. And he's still in color, superimposed over the black and white background. So he's walking through like this black and white hedge garden.
It's similarly CGI / over-animations.
It kind of reminded me of the stylistic set design of the Mind Robber. Very CGI unique. Yeah.
All right. So anyway. So the Doctor's walking through the Palace of Versailles. That's the Palace of Versailles. He's walking through some place like the Palace of Versailles, and this is in the other space. And eventually, Romana and K-9. What? Catch up to him.
Magic, yeah.
What?
I don't know. It's a confusing serial.
It is. It's a very confusing story. Catch up to him. And eventually, the Doctor gets caught. He shows up at the
dining table, right?
The dining table with the other Leonins.
It's called the Day of the Feast.
Right.
And it's a time loop, a time rift. We're back in time when the Therals were in control of E-Space. And they were the ruler
of every space.
And they enslaved humans and they abused their power. Right. And the Doctor's sitting there at dinner, and the little girl's pouring him a glass of wine. The other Leonin, the Theral, slaps her away, and the Doctor's just disgusted. And he goes and he helps her up, and he goes, "This is how you treat people." And they're like, "She's just a human." And it's like a fine way to run your kingdom, and he knocks over the glass of wine, and they're all offended. So they kicked him out of the day of the feast, and he shows back up. Everything is aged again.
Everything skips time back to, back to what we saw in the Citadel with
the future. Yeah.
The current time
space,
with
all the cobwebs,
everything, and
he shows up there right as K-9.
So like episode 4 now.
This is episode 3. Yeah, this is right where episode 3 ends. Is the Doctor's a surprise dinner guest?
Episode 4.
He shows up at the table. End of episode 3. So they point the gun. They point the gun at him. They're like, "Oh, hello, Doctor." Episode 4. He's now back in with the rest of the party, with Romana and K-9. Adric's still sneaking around. We have the whole crew and the captain there, Rorvik. And he points the gun at the Doctor and he goes, "Oh, welcome back." And he goes, "Yeah, unfortunately." And Rorvik's like, "You seem to be able to hop in and out and navigate somewhat, seamlessly." And the Doctor goes, "It appears that way."
Yeah, it's just
because it's really the Theral. Yeah, it is the Theral that was kind of helping them transport. So the Doctor's trying to figure out how to get them to slip again, and he's like, "Well, we need to make some sort of distraction." And K-9's awfully distracting, so a Leonin shows up. I think B-Rock or Laszlo. Laszlo's the one that helped Romana out. And they manage to give the captain and his guards the slip again, and they go through the mirror again. So now it's Romana and the Doctor on the other side of the mirror.
All this time, the universe...
It's contracting, right?
It's contracting. What they know is contracting. The null space. Not E-Space, not N-Space, but the null space.
Yeah, coordinate 0 is contracting over... Not the TARDIS, because the TARDIS is heavy, but not that heavy.
But actually, their ship,
the other guy's ship,
dwarf star crap,
very dense dwarf star metal alloy that they make their ship, so it can navigate through time rifts and stuff.
So it can steal slaves from that particular era.
It's the only material they have that can entrap these Therals to where they can't escape. Except there's a hole that was blasted in the side of the ship, so now they're kind of sneaking out. But most of them are in a sleep-like stasis. Yeah, they're in hibernation.
And then one guy goes and kills like 4 or 5 of them.
He goes around squeezing a few necks in episode 4. Yeah, we had about 4 deaths.
Yeah. So all the other episodes, no deaths. Episode 4, probably about 7 or 8 deaths.
Like 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta catch up. So now that Romana and the Doctor are back through the looking glass through B-Rock, he's like, this isn't a good situation for everyone. And B-Rock was like, "Yes, my people are enslaved and they're tortured." And the Doctor's like, kind of like how when you're in charge and you enslaved and tortured people. And he's like, "Yes, but that was a long time ago, and haven't my people suffered enough as punishment for their crimes? And I don't want my people to be enslaved anymore." And he's like, "All right." And Romana really takes charge of this concept. She's like, "Yeah, enslavement's bad. We have to free these Theral Leonin people." Mm-hmm. And the Doctor's like, "I just kind of want to get out of here, but let's see what happens." What happens after that? They exit the looking glass again?
Yeah, so they end up going back to the TARDIS in the null space. And the Doctor is gone there with Adric and him, Romana and K-9, and one of the Leonins.
Yeah. B-Rock or Laszlo?
Laszlo, I think. And the Doctor's like, "Hey, he healed all the other Leonins."
Right, she walks through the looking glass and she touches his face and he smiles because it healed his face like it healed the Doctor's hand. Yeah, because he got burnt when they're waking him out of stasis.
They did much more than that. All of them, yeah. And the Doctor goes to the TARDIS, says, "Look, we need to be going." And Romana's like, "I'm not going with you." He's like, "What?" She says, "No, I'm not going with you." Because maybe she was afraid of Gallifrey. She didn't want to go back to Gallifrey, be stuck there.
Yeah, the past couple of serials, she said, "Well, this is kind of the Time Lords are calling me home, and And this brings it into our time. The doctor's like, I guess so. You can't escape the Time Lords. And Romano's like, well, you did. You got away, and you get to do your own adventures.
Right.
And you get this kind of free-spirited nature where Romana sees her chance to escape. She's like, I'm not in N-space. I'm not in E-Space. I'm in zero coordinates. The Time Lords probably can't find me. This is where I get to branch off and be my own person. I don't have to follow the Time Lords. I don't have to follow orders. I get to be like my own doctor, and I get to explore. And she's like, I'm going to help these people free their people, because Laszlo says a lot of my people are enslaved all over the galaxy. They're being forced to navigate through different dangerous parts of spaces. And she takes K-9 with her, because K-9, the doctor says,
here, take K-9 with you. And she
because
takes K-9.
he'll be repaired on the other side of the looking glass.
Right. So the doctor is there, and he leaves Romana and K-9. They move off into their own, into the Versailles, and what's left is Adric.
It's just Adric and the doctor.
And
boy, the doctor snaps at Adric, and he's not very nice to him. You feel a lot of tension. He's under pressure. He's very sad that he's saying goodbye to Romana.
Correct. The doctor doesn't like goodbyes.
And just like how he was saying goodbye to Sarah Jane Smith, he gives her that gem. What was it called? The Mind Opal. He kind of gives K-9 as a going away gift to Romana. He's like, quick, it's dangerous to go alone. Take him with you. So it's just the doctor and Adric, and Adric's like, well, what did she do? And he's like, I don't know what she's gonna do.
2 or 3. There'll be more. There'll be more kids.
Yeah, there's more models of K-9. Mark 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of episode 4.
So we lose Romana, we lose K-9, and we still have Adric. That's it.
Adric and the Doctor. Those are
what are your questions?
One companion. The spaceship blows up. How do you harvest door star metal alloy from a door star?
No earthly idea.
It has to be a dormant star. I
have no idea.
What happens when stars go dormant, though?
I have no idea.
They implode, explode, turn into black
hole.
hole.
No idea. Seriously, no idea.
Very heavy metal. So what happened to Serial?
What do you mean?
I don't understand. So the whole last mill thing, and they keep going back and forth in time from when they were in power, the day of the feast, and the last meal, and then they go back into the future. What is that pocket in time? What's happening? I don't understand. Why is it that... Okay, so B-Rock says we need a Time Lord, talking about Romana, because they need to be able to travel through time. But I thought that the Therals could already travel through time.
Well, only with the... Therals.
Yes. So Adric asks the Doctor, will she be okay? And the Doctor says, she'll be superb. And that's our goodbye to Romana and K-9.
Yay!
Next time we have the Keeper of Traken. Traken? Traken. 4 episodes? How many more serials do we have this season? Season 7? 8?
2.
2 more. And then that's the end of Baker?
2 more.
We're going to have to vote on our favorite of Baker's serials and our favorite of season 8. Which this one, State of Decay was really good. That was like a 4 out of 5. Warriors Gate was like a 3 out of 5. They're okay.
Alright.
Boy, one of those was really good. What was the one that we had before State of Decay? Full Circle was good. That was a good one. We'll bring these home and digitize them. Any final closing thoughts, Hatter? This is good cereal. You had fun. We enjoyed it. We'll see you next week with the Tracker. What's it called? The something Tracker?
Keeper of Traken.
Keeper of Traken. We'll see you next week. We'll keep you posted. We're still at it. You're doing good, Hatter. Oh, let's talk about my new podcast idea. So here's what I want to do is I want to... Go ahead.
What is it?
I want to download a game on your computer, right? Then I go home. We hop on Discord, and we do a blind first impression of this brand new video game. I just have you play these weird video games to just get your impression. We'll just have like, they're going to be terrible games, right? But we're just going to play them for like 30 minutes an hour to a podcast. That'll be fun. I'll download one on your computer. All right, we'll see you next week, guys. Say bye-bye. Boop, 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 boop.